The Digital Economy Summit opened with a bang, and it wasn't just those attending the event in Johannesburg that got to witness the opening address. A live, real-time hologram of President Cyril Ramaphosa was broadcast to a community in the Northwest. The president has encouraged South Africans to embrace the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Wits University is one of the founders of the Fourth Industrial Revolution Partnership for South Africa, and I'm joined by its Vice-Chancellor, Professor Adam Habib. Good evening, Prof. Thanks very much for your time. I mean, this term, Fourth Industrial Revolution, gets thrown around very liberally, in my view, with actually fewer and fewer of us actually understanding what it means and what it entails.
So I think that that's right. I think that we are beginning to use it, and so many people are using it in so many different ways that it's become almost meaningless. I think what we are talking about is effectively a technological revolution that is underway in the world. The pace of technological change is increasing quite dramatically. The ability of big data, robotics, a whole series of disruptions in multiple industries is beginning to have huge impacts on people who are employed, the kinds of skill sets that are required. And in that context, it's begun to be described as the Fourth Industrial Revolution. I'm not so sure we're reaching that point yet, but if you want to, it's meant to speak to a digital technological revolution underway in the world.
Well, it offers the world opportunities, but also threats, isn't it?
It indeed offers the world's threats. What you're going to see is industries, what happened between the 80s and the 2000s, where thousands and thousands of jobs of blue-collar workers was wiped out. We could see in the next 20 to 30 years thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of jobs of white-collar workers being wiped out. That doesn't mean that new jobs won't be created, but the kinds of skill sets required for those new jobs are going to be fundamentally different. And we clearly need to understand that, we need to anticipate that, and we need to train. In a place like South Africa, we should worry, because we already are a highly unequal society. And if we don't fix the digital divide, what you could do is accelerate the inequality and permanently exclude those who've been previously excluded from our economy. And it seems to me that the real trick is how to enable the Fourth Industrial Revolution, enable competitiveness without destroying and deepening inequality. And that's the real trick that it seems to me that we've got to get right.
Well, I mean, as a Vice-Chancellor of a university, are we there or even close?
So we're not there, but we are beginning to experiment in all kinds of fundamental ways, whether at Wits University or the University of Johannesburg or many of the other institutions. So for instance, if you go to our software engineering programs, or if you go to our programs in computer science, there's all kinds of work being done on cutting-edge technologies. Wits University has a program on gaming, where we teach young people in a 3 to 4 year program on how to make games and how to create games, digital games that can be bought up. So there's a lot of new. We've established Shibolahong in partnership with IBM, and we've created research labs. I know that the University of Johannesburg is working on blockchain and multiple other areas around the policy associated with the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Places like the University of Pretoria and UCT and Stellenbosch all are doing this in all kinds of multiple ways. So there is some movement.
But I'm just listening to, the universities you I'm citing, and I'm thinking, aren't there like thousands and thousands of students who are at other universities that may not even begun?
So I think that if you go to Forte, for instance, Forte was part of the partnership.
University of Walter Sisulu.
Walter Sisulu.
In the north.
I think that even in places like that, there are engagements around the Fourth Industrial Revolution. But I think your worry is a correct one, because there's millions of other students in the TVET colleges, outside post-secondary higher education, that are not having the kinds of opportunities. And so this is why I do worry that we do need to start upscaling our capacities at schooling, at secondary level, at TVET colleges, and at universities, and we need to ring a relationship between these institutions, because if we don't proactively deal with this, what we could land up with is reproduce the inequality divides and permanently exclude those that have been historically excluded.
But presumably that was the point of today's summit.
It was precisely because of that. What we want to say is we shouldn't become victims, once again, of a technological revolution. We need to anticipate it, we need to prepare for it, and we need to create the kinds of policy mechanisms, the kinds of institutional infrastructures, the kinds of curriculum development, and the kinds of resources that will enable us to deal with this and bridge the digital divide. And we're beginning to see multiple attempts at this. Have we conquered it yet? No. But we have to start anticipating, beginning to experiment. Don't let other people experiment and then we adopt the technologies. Let us learn to experiment ourselves and develop the kinds of technologies that are specific to our circumstances.
Great to have had the President as your keynote speaker, but what is going to follow?
Well, that is the big issue. So let's be fair. He has established a presidential commission. That presidential commission has an enormous amount of work to do. They did commit, for instance, today we were told that they would resolve spectrum by the end of the month. I do think that what we need...
Getting that story over and over again.
Well, let's see this time. Yeah, I agree. I think let's see this time. But what we made very clear in the summit to the President, that actually we're not in the business of writing another plan. What we need is action, action, and action. And that point was not only made by us. He echoed it in his speech. So did others, including the CEO of Telkom, other participants. There is no doubt that if we write another plan and debate it for another 3 years, we're going to be behind the curve. We need to start seriously getting decisions done. And I think that message went out today.
Let's hope it did indeed. Thanks very much for coming through, Prof.
It's a pleasure.
Professor Adam Habib, who is the Vice Chancellor of Wits University.